All right. Well, we promised you the inside story of what happened in Hwediem, right, where a member of parliament from a neighboring constituency is reported by the police to have caused and incited violence by arriving with thugs, and seeing to the release of suspects who had been arrested by NAIMOS, and also attacking the NAIMOS officers. That's what the police are saying happened. The MP himself denies it, says he came there to restore calm. Well, our very own Erastus Asare Donkor has been looking between the cracks to find out what the actual truth is. Erastus, good morning.
Good morning, Kojo.
All right. Well, you've been asking. What have you learned?
Kojo, I have learned that the MP went to the site at Bronikrum. In fact, the NAIMOS, led by its commander, Colonel Boa, went to the site. They were actually on their way to a place. That wasn't the exact point where they were supposed to go. They were on a reconnaissance activity in the area at the invitation of the North MC, that they wanted him to conduct an operation in the area. But on the way, his attention was drawn to this mining site. Actually, it's a gold processing area. Now, this is what they were doing there. They had dug a pit, and they were using acid and cyanide to process tailings for gold. Now, Kodo, you and I know the effects of cyanide. And they are not using the cyanide in small quantities. They are doing what they call leaching, using large quantities of cyanide to mix tailings, residue bought from other illegal gold mining sites. And they are doing that 10 inches away from the main Hwediem road, the Bronikrum Hwediem road. And so there were 2 excavators on site and 1 payloader. So the commander ordered that they should arrest them. So one guy who is called Alex was arrested, and then a Burkinabe. In fact, there were other Burkinabe nationals there, but they fled. So they were able to arrest one Burkinabe and the Alex guy, and they put them in handcuffs. And then they bent the structures on the ground, and they asked one of the operators to cover the pit they had dug that they were using for that illegal processing. Now, in the course of that, the MP came to the site with 20 other heavily built men, and he demanded that they release the people who have been arrested. In fact, in his own words, he said he doesn't want the townsfolk to see those 2 people in handcuffs, so they should release them. And they should hand over their seized equipment. And at that, the commander said no. On whose authority are you demanding that suspects who have been lawfully arrested be released? And then, subsequently, he said he was sent by the Honorable Collins Dowda. And so, Collins Dowda wants to speak to him, the commander, on phone. So he called Collins Dowda, and the commander spoke to him on his phone. And Collins Dowda also repeated the same issues, that they are his people and that he should release them. And he said no. So at this point, the men that he brought started agitating to the extent that they now seized a pump action gun that they have seized from them. They took it back. And then they went rowdy, took the keys to the vehicles they have seized from the commander, and released the suspects. So they noted that, in fact, the way that things were going, they have to rush the suspects to the next police station. On their way, the MP and his men were following them in a vehicle. until they reached the police station. At the police station, the MP went to the charge office, stood there and started repeating the same things he's been saying, that they should release the items, they should release the suspects over to them. And that is what brought more people to the station, and they started agitating to the extent that they started vandalizing the vehicle of NAIMOS. They wanted to lynch the soldiers. They wanted to burn one of their vehicles until one policeman moved the vehicle away from the police station. So in effect, the MP insisted and ensured that the vehicles they had seized was released back to the suspects. The suspects were released. All the other items that had been seized were returned to them before the mob left the police station. This was what happened.
This is interesting.
Kojo, the site where they are doing this thing, I'm told that alleged guy, popularly known as Una in the town, is a notorious guy who conducts his business there. I am also told that he's Honorable Colin Zauda's boy. As to whether that is true, I have not been able to confirm that. But that is what we have learned so far.
This is interesting. There is a detail I want to clarify because I think it's at the heart of this. So the chaos, right, with the mob growing and getting agitated, happened at the police station. Is that correct?
The agitation started at the site.
Yes, but
with the MP and the men he brought, about 20 of them.
I'll get to that. But I want to go along playing the devil's advocate, looking at what the MP has told us. Because he claims that he came there to restore calm because the public were agitated, right?
That is not true.
To help what he's saying.
Hold on, just a moment. Blessed has an intervention. Just a moment.
This is the quote from the MP, as pointed out by the overseer, Erastus. It reads, quote, and I'm just reading. As a responsible lawmaker, I offered my support to ensure there's calmness in the area and will always work together with every security agency to maintain law and order. That's the quote from the MP.
In fact, it is rather to the contrary.
Right. So I want us to go step by step. So the agitation with the crowd happened at the police station. At the mining site, it was only the MP and his men who had arrived at the mining site, not a crowd from the town. Is that correct?
No. Yes, that's correct.
So until the MP and his men arrived, was there any chaos?
There was no chaos. The suspects had been arrested. They were sitting down as commanded by the soldiers. They were in handcuffs. And in fact, the commander was going to hand them over to the Hwediem police, make entries, and start a prosecution and leave because they were on another mission.
So
it was when he came to the site with the men and demanded that they release the suspects. And that is where the agitation started. And it started with his men, the men he brought, about 20 of them, heavily built men.
It makes me wonder, what calm did he come to restore when it was already calm before he got there?
He came not to restore any calm. And in fact, I have videos of him at the site demanding that they release them. I have videos of him calling Honorable Colin Zauda for the Colonel Boa to speak with him. And from the commander, Colin Zauda also said the same thing, that they should release them, hand over their equipment back to them. And he said no. Once they have been arrested and once they have been found to be illegally processing gold with dangerous chemicals at the site. And in fact, 2 drums of the acid they were using is in the custody of NAIMOS as we speak.
So Erastus, from your independent checks, the MP's claim that he went there to restore calm cannot possibly be true?
No, it is false. He did not go there to restore calm I would say that he was rather the originator of the controversy. Because if he had not gone there with his men, about 20 of them, the commander of NAIMOS would have handed over the suspect to the police. And they would have taken it from there, and there would be no agitation or controversy to solve for him to come in to restore calm. And even at the police station, they traced when the NAIMOS guards were following to the police station, he followed them with his men to the police station and still repeated the same demands that they should release them. And he continued to make the demands until they were released, actually. And all the seized items handed over to the guys before he left the police station.
So, Erastus, this happened over the weekend. Have the police returned to Hwediem to rearrest those suspects, including the Burkinabés?
No, and I'm learning from my intelligence that those who were arrested have bolted. They've left the town, and they've left with the exhibits that were taken from them. And in fact, the MP insisted that they give it back to them. And so the men that he brought took the keys from them to take some of the items and went away.
So this includes the prime suspect, Alex. Is that correct?
Yes.
He has also bolted.
Yes.
All right. Well, Erastus, as always, we are grateful to you for digging into this matter. How are the people of Hwediem responding to suddenly becoming the center of national news?
Because if you go to Hwediem, you realize there are many illegal mining camps in the area, and the people are bought into that illegality. And when you have the MP for the area knowing very well that there is something like this going on, something that is really at the heart of health for the entire public in Hwediem, because if you're using cyanide, which is very, very dangerous, when it gets to the soil and it rains, it will seep into underground water. It's difficult to take out. Every crop you grow around that area will have some traces of it. And so these people are poisoning the entire community, and people are aware, the police are aware, the MPs are aware, and they did nothing about it until NAIMOS went in there to stop it. And I think this must not be allowed to continue.
Right. It's of interest to me that the people themselves, when they arrived at the police station, they seemed to be on the side of those seeking the release of the suspects. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Erastus, thank you once again for bringing some clarity to this matter. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Kudu.
Yeah, that's our correspondent, Erastus Asare Donkor. Fascinating stuff, Churchill.
But I think the police is very clear in their statement. The MP's statement cannot be the case. And the police has indicated that the problem actually is the Asutifi North Member of Parliament. He's the problem. At least today, there's evidence of a kingpin. You can see him. When
no money and payday
those engaged in the destruction of the environment are arrested, he's the one who goes there asking for their release and incites violence in that area. If the President of the Republic, His Excellency John Mahama, wants to use anybody as scapegoat to show that he's committed to the fight against illegal mining, it's good that Chairman Wontumi is in court. If the court finds him guilty, he should be punished. But this Member of Parliament also, and other members of Parliament who are engaged in this same thing, because the Speaker of Parliament has told us that the MPs who are engaged, he knows them, and that they should desist. We have one now. This would be a perfect example.
If indeed the President means it when he says that he wants to fight Galamsey,
let's deal with
right?
it. Yeah.
Wow, shocker. In your constituency, people are using cyanide in illegal mining activity inches from the main road. Inches. And you are not aware. Or, I mean, can he claim that he's not aware? I guess that's the question.
The challenge we're also faced with now is that this is a member of parliament, so you know that the procedures for his arrest and the processes will now be staring the speaker in the face. That's calling into question a lot of expectation and people wondering what the next step of the Speaker of Parliament will be, because he ought to trigger the process if there's going to be anything of removing that immunity for a while.
There is no immunity. Let's be clear. There's no immunity. But I mean, there's just a process.
There's just a process of arresting them. Not immunity. Pardon my words there. But obviously, someone ought to take that step, and it's got to be the Speaker as well. So if the Speaker is interested in triggering the process, now it stares in his face. He could help make the process as simple. In fact, the MP claims to be a law-abiding individual.
A lawmaker.
Yes, a lawmaker as well. So we're expecting that once the Speaker triggers the process, he will also cooperate with the police, so we come to terms with what actually may have transpired. So I think that will also help matters, actually.
But the impunity is shocking. Now we are attacking soldiers. Ghanaians are attacking soldiers. Listen to this.
And the people you are talking to are aware. It's not that they are not aware. They are aware that you are some of you are participating in it. So please, first desist from doing it yourself. Don't go to them for the money for your campaigns. Don't go to solicit their votes. Let them see you work. Truly, it's a disgrace that we've gone to this far. Look at the water. Horrible.
Yeah, and that was the speaker that we are referring to, Alban Bagbin. Now that the police are interested in an MP, let's hope that because of how he feels about the LMC, he will also play his role in ensuring that justice.
Exactly why I'm bringing the speaker into this, because often it's the executive all the time, isn't it? But now he's an MP. We know how close he is to the action. He's given his account. If he's really interested in ensuring that there's transparency, everybody gets to know what's happening.
Hey, it's
then
crazy.
Of course, the speaker should just allow the police to act.
Just regular, heavily built men feel enough authority to basically accost soldiers and forcibly release their suspects. Hey!
They are not ordinary soldiers.
They are not just regular soldiers too. NAIMOS appointed by the president to carry out exactly this purpose by presidential power. But some heavily built man has more power than that. Hey! Hey, this is Ghana. You have to understand that if this is possible, then even our civilization is a veneer. It's an illusion. It's just Bibina Nkokano. That's why things seem to be operating as normal. But this is actually the Wild West. In reality, that's what this means.
I also believe that this is a time to also applaud the men in uniform, especially those from the armed forces who are part of the NAIMOS, because ordinarily, if you threaten a soldier, you know what the implications could be with someone holding live ammunition. We ought to applaud them at one instance. For doing quite a great job there with restraint.
Blessed. Let us note that they exercised restraint.
Yeah, they did.
But I don't know that we should applaud it. I'll tell you why. Major Mahama. He exercised restraint.
Yeah.
It cost him his life.
But whatever the case, extrajudicial killings are not.
But it would not have been an extrajudicial killing.
I get it.
If he had defended himself, it would not have been an extrajudicial killing. That is important. That's why I'm saying that we must note that they exercised restraint.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we should applaud it. Because when we do that, we are suggesting that that's always the right thing to do. Die rather than defend yourself. That's what that cannot be what we are suggesting. Do you see my point?
I get that.
Yeah. So they exercise restraint. It is true, but they may not do that every time. Let's be aware of that.
You will be lucky next